And I did move on pretty fast, to be fair. At that point, I was buying ropes in a chair. But then I met this girl on my level, pretty scared. Was no gossip girl, but I was attracted to her flair. So I told her that I love her, that I put nothing above her, except maybe my guru in my dreams. She would stare at me through that blur.
Alright, boom. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to me. Did you miss me? I missed you. Let's jump right into it. I want to have a casual discussion about self-love and the difference between self-love, self-tolerance, and self-indulgence. Between the three of them, there are healthy and unhealthy amounts and doses of them that, when combined together, can create very, very toxic results, but sometimes can create really, really beautiful relationships and amazing days filled with engaging with yourself on a level where you respect yourself, but you also want to continue to see yourself improve. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to be when you've got a good dose of everything. Let's begin with self-indulgence. Self-indulgence, as it is understood, as a dictionary definition, something done or allowed in a self-indulgent way. When done in doses, isn't a bad thing, especially if the ripple effects of that self-indulgence don't lead to long-term negative consequences. Those are the self-indulgent things that people can usually get away with. And you know when you're being self-indulgent. You know for a fact. You know, like the moment before you get into that indulgent, you can feel it. You can feel it inside of yourself. The moment you take that bite, the moment you take that sip, the moment you take that hit, the moment you do that thing, you know what you're doing, and you know that it's coming out of a selfish want to fulfill something within yourself that necessarily doesn't have to be fulfilled. That is self-indulgence. Then comes self-tolerance. Tolerance, if you Google it right now, the ability or willingness to tolerate the existence of opinions or behaviors that one dislikes or disagrees with. So self-tolerance is that exact same thing directed inwards. The ability to tolerate the existence of opinions and behaviors that you exhibit from yourself, from within yourself. There are opinions that even you have that pop up in your brain that you're like, well, no, that's not a thing. It also has to do with a tolerance of your mistakes and of your recurring flaws. And then comes self-love, which has been understood and conceptualized as regard for one's own happiness or advantage. There are two layers to it. Self-love doesn't only apply to making yourself happy all the time. Self-love also applies to giving yourself the advantage that regardless of your emotion, you might be able to have the advantage through your actions. If you execute and practice the actions that give you an advantage, regardless of your emotion, that is also a form of self-love. Be able to walk into your days with intention and purpose every single time that comes from simply treating yourself the way you should be treating yourself. If you self-indulge too much, you'll implode and you'll rot from the inside. If you self-tolerate too much, you'll blind yourself to your own shortcomings and end up hurting the people around you. If you shut yourself off from self-love, nothing in your life will have meaning, true meaning, to the only person whom it should have meaning to, yourself. Simply knowing that the world is now a different place and it will never be the same again. That's big, that's massive. And you cannot in this time allow yourself to slip into a pattern of continuous self-indulgence, a lack of self-tolerance, and a complete misunderstanding of your own self-love. You are making a toxic cocktail for yourself that'll be very, very difficult to recover from. Be aware of the difference between these three things and know when you are practicing these three things. And be sure to be aware that some people push the perspective that self-indulgence and self-love are exactly the same thing when they're generally not. They're not. They're just not the same thing. Just because you're doing what you want all the time doesn't mean you're doing what's best for you. Regardless of your emotion, so the happiness, the regard for your happiness, regardless of what's happening there, if you are not practicing to give yourself the advantage as often as possible. If you are not pursuing ways to give yourself and your life the advantage emotionally, spiritually, physically, you are simply indulging yourself with a bunch of temporary pleasures and filling your life with human beings who can only provide that and nothing more. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Please comment if you agree, disagree, have anything to say at all. I'm kind of going through a lot today. I apologize if there are bags under my eyes. It's a trying time for all of us. Let's be there for each other as much as we can. Let us love, tolerate, and sometimes, in healthy doses, indulge one another, and especially ourselves.